Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, August the 6th, 2020. It is currently 9:42 a.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from Victory Baptist Church, located here in Ovalo, Texas. Now, in this episode, I'm going to attempt something. I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but I came up with this idea, and I thought I would turn on the microphone this morning and share it. There's a lot of other things I need to get recorded and a lot of other live broadcasts I need to do today. But I wanted to start the day with this, get it out of the way, throw it out there, and see if people are willing to participate, if people are willing to try this. And we will see. We will see. If it's successful, great. If it's a failure, well, it's a failure. I mean, you don't know unless you try. So here's my thinking. Right now, if you don't have Spotify, if you download Spotify and you say, well, I don't want to subscribe to Spotify. Spotify now is becoming a very, very popular destination for people to go and listen to podcasts. So you can download Spotify for free and just use it to listen to podcasts. And a lot of people are doing it. A lot of Spotify is really in the podcasting business right now. They are signing people to exclusive contracts to put their podcast just on Spotify. So Spotify is kind of a big deal in the podcasting world. I can't say it's the biggest, but it's right. It's trying to get its name right there with all of the other big podcasting platforms. So I was thinking the other day, well, there's lots of big podcasts on Spotify. Lots of big ones. Spotify even has charts to show you which podcasts are doing the best, which podcasts are getting all of the attention. And they even have a category for religious and spiritual podcasts, religion and spirituality. That's the name of the chart. In fact, I have it right here in front of me. It's called, in fact, we don't want that. It's called where is it? I'm looking at all the charts right now. We have the top religion and spirituality chart for the United States of America. Now, each country has their own charts, but I'm looking at the chart for the United States of America because obviously that's where I'm at. So top religion and spirituality podcast in the United States of America. This chart, it reads like this: the most popular religion and spirituality podcast updated daily. So if you open that, you will see that when people are on Spotify and they're looking for different kinds of podcasts and they want to look for something in the religion and spirituality, and under that topic, they want to look for podcasts dealing with that topic. What are they going to find when they open this chart? Well, take a look. I'm going to start at the bottom of the chart. Real ghost stories online. There you go. Real ghost stories. So they're going to turn to religion and spirituality, and the first thing they're going to see, if starting at the bottom, is real ghost stories online. If you go, that's number 50. Number 48, real life ghost stories. If you go to number 46, Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. If you go to number 45, Gemini Today. If you go to number 42, Capricorn Today. Number 41, Aries Today. Number 40, Sagittarius Today. Number 39, Seeking Witchcraft. There you have it. If for people looking for podcasts about religion and spirituality, and they start looking at the chart, here are some of the things they're going to find. Seeking Witchcraft. They're going to find, Scorpio Today. They're going to find a meditation podcast. They're going to find Pisces Today, Virgo Today, Cancer Today. So a lot of astrology. We've got witchcraft. We've got astrology. What else do we have here? Mysterious Universe, a podcast. We're going to find Joyce Meyer is number 21. So Joyce Meyer is one of the big ones on here. See, what else do we have here? Joyce Meyer again. So Joyce Meyer is on the chart 2 times. Joyce Meyer is on the chart 2 times. What else do we have here? Joel Osteen is number 8. Joel Osteen is number 8. Stephen Furtick is number 3. Stephen Furtick is number 3. So you have a hodgepodge of you just got a stuff from all kinds of different perspectives there, just thrown in the religion and spirituality podcast chart. Now, in fact, let me look here. I'll see if they have any other charts here that would be more specific. No, that's it. So so if you say, well, there's a Christian chart, no, religion and spirituality, they're all right there. So there really isn't anything. I mean, there may be a couple of things on there that you would say, okay, that's pretty good, but I just wanted you to get kind of an idea of what's there. You can go look at the whole chart for yourself, but you kind of see that if you're looking for a religion or spirituality podcast, if anyone's looking for that topic on Spotify, they're not going to find a lot of solid theology, anything with Bible teaching. They're not really going to find anything of any in-depth Bible teaching, anything of that kind of nature there. And you may say, well, who cares? That's not the issue. No, that is an issue, because when the people in the world are looking for topics related to religion or spirituality, you may not know this, but they look on Google and many of them look for podcast. So here's my thought. And this is the reason I'm thinking this morning, all right? And this is where I'm going to need your help. I don't know if you're willing to participate, but if you are, I've got a challenge for you. But let me explain why I'm thinking this way. About 15 days ago, I kind of like a little personal challenge. It was kind of a weird, like, I had a conversation, and it was like this kind of little, why don't you create a secular podcast? All of your podcasts you've ever done in history have been theological in nature, but you just create a podcast where you just talk about music, movies, TV shows. Let's just see how successful you can be. And it was kind of like this little challenge. Okay, let's do it. I mean, why not? I can throw this out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I can just delete it. I can monetize it, maybe make a little money on the side, and let's see what happens. So I created the Currently On podcast, where we talk about what's currently on, okay? I talk about music. I do interpretation of lyrics from popular songs, pretty much anything. In fact, I really haven't even kind of narrowed down exactly what I want the podcast to be. And I don't even know if I'm going to keep it more than 6 months. It was a 6-month challenge to see what I could accomplish. So I create the podcast. I start creating some episodes. And boom, the next thing I know, we're the number 2 trending podcast on Spotify. Number 2. The person who was keeping us out of number 1 was Michelle Obama. So that was major success. We're right now, as I'm speaking, we're number 37 or number 39 on the top news podcast on Spotify. And we have now entered the chart for the top podcast of all podcasts, right? In other words, they have a top podcast. This is of every category, all brought together. And we've entered that chart at now 197. So the Currently On podcast was at one point the number 2 trending podcast in the United States of America. We're on charts from a lot of different countries. I could go through the list. 197 on the top podcast, period. We are, in fact, I'm going to look at that chart right now. We're currently beating, in fact, look at this. Let's go all the way back. Top podcast in the U.S. If I go down right now, we are we are above the Washington Post. Currently, the person you're listening to has a podcast that is above the Washington Post. The Washington Post has name recognition. We're nobody, and we're number 199. I don't even know how that occurred. Now, I don't know if we can get Currently On to get in the top one, to get like in the top 50, the top 20. I don't know if we'll ever get there. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. But I'm like, well, if I can create a podcast, now it's a secular podcast, mind you, and I can get on the top charts without even trying, without any, there was no promotion, nothing, just threw it out there. And next thing you know, it blew up. And again, I don't know how long that's going to last. Obviously, the initial buzz is wearing off a little bit. I don't know if I've created a big enough fan base for that to make it last. The first sponsor that we had, we already we already had so many downloads that they had a certain amount of money they were going to pay out, and they already paid it out. It wasn't very much. It was like, $70. So that went quickly. Now the company that we are going through for that podcast are supposed to be trying to find us a new sponsor. If we find a new sponsor for that podcast, we will see. If they actually get me another sponsor and it may be able to make me a little bit money on the side, then great. But so that's been that kind of experiment opened my eyes. I'm like, well, wait a minute. When it comes to theology, I'm used to competing with theology with other sermons and other churches in a theological world. When I was on Sermon Audio, okay, we were competing with all of these other. I mean, we had kind of, in a sense, not only were we competing, but we had a built-in audience because Sermon Audio, everyone there is looking for religious and theological content, and so we were, in a sense, we're competing with all the other churches producing the exact same content, and we did okay. We averaged around 30,000 downloads a month. That's not massively successful, but it felt very successful back then. But then when you enter into the big, like there, we were a small fish in a small pond, right? I don't think we ever became a large fish there, maybe medium-sized fish and a very small pond, all right? So you can pat yourself on the back and say, okay, woo. But when you enter into the big, wide world of podcasting, where you no longer have a built-in audience and you're competing with everything, like on Spotify, well, what you realize is theology is not very well represented. And what spirituality and religion is represented, you have the Joel Osteens, the Joyce Meyers, the Stephen Furticks, you have witchcraft, you have astrology, and you have ghost. Okay, that's a weird world to be in. So here is my challenge. If you would, think about it, consider downloading the Spotify app. It's absolutely free. You'll have to put in you can sign up, follow Theology Central, follow VBC, follow the VBC Bible Institute, follow all of our podcasts on Spotify, and download and stream them like crazy. And let's see if we can at least make it onto the top religion charts. And then that will get at least our content out there. Now, you may hate our content and don't want it to be found, and I can completely understand. So obviously, I'm not asking you to do that. Okay, but I think we offer, if you look at everything we talk about, if you look at all the topics we talk about, I think we offer at least a unique theological perspective that would be interesting, that has to be better than astrology, ghost, and witchcraft. If you're a Christian, I think you would have to agree that what we're doing is far better than witchcraft, Harry Potter, the sacred text. I think you would have to agree. Well, let's at least get something that's in line with historical biblical Christianity on the religion chart, so that people out there who are in the world who are looking for something theological or religious may say, Theology Central. Wait, VBC Bible Institute? What is that? Wait, VBC? Oh, that's a church. Let me listen to those sermons. Maybe that would be great. So, and it's not going to cost you anything. So you download Spotify. You don't have to subscribe. You just use it to listen to a podcast. And then you subscribe. You hit follow. This is a big thing. Hit follow. You want to follow us because those follow numbers going up are absolutely essential to you getting on the charts. And then just listen, stream, download like absolutely crazy. Go download everything that we have done and then just start listening to it again. Listen to it. I don't know. Just do whatever you can and we'll see what happens. Now, maybe it won't work. And make sure you understand this. I want to make this very clear. None of our theological podcasts are monetized. They are not monetized. We don't get money. I'm not asking you to sit there and to do. I'm not asking you to do anything to make me any money. The theological podcast, VBC Bible Institute, Theological Musings, and Theology Central. None of those podcasts are monetized. We make absolutely zero money for them. We pay money to make them. We pay money to host them. And basically, all of our internet presence runs us about $120, $130 a month. And we don't We don't charge anyone anything for that. So I'm not asking you to go make me any money, okay? I'm not asking you to sit there and go listen to the Currently On podcast so that you can benefit me. No, what I'm trying to do is get Theology on the Spotfy Religion and Spirituality chart. That's what I'm trying to do. We're trying to compete in the market, in the free market of ideas in the world. We're not trying to hey, we're on a religious site. Let's get all the religious people to listen to us. We're trying to get our things out there to the world. And right now the world is confused about everything. So maybe our presence there could be a good thing. I don't know if it is. You can determine if you think it's a good thing or a bad thing. But it's something I think we're going to try. We'll see. We'll give it, we'll know within 24 hours. I'm going to know within 24 hours whether people decided to participate or not. It's going to just take it's not going to take long. When the charts are updated at midnight, so I'll know within a couple of hours after midnight, oh, look at the Theology Central. We entered the chart. And if we entered the chart, that would be awesome. So if you have Spotfy, in fact, let me do this because I don't want to lie to you. I don't even know how easy we're to find on Spotfy. So let me look here. I'm going to go to Spotfy. I'm going to search. Let's go. I'm going to do, hang on. Theology. I'm going to look for Theology Central here. All right. Theology. And there's a bunch of theology. And see, if you type in theology on Spotfy, here's what you get. You get theology gals, queer theology, theology refresh, reclaiming my theology, all right? Theology roundtable. So you get a lot. So we don't even show up when you do that. You have to put Theology Central and then where are the first things that show up. Theology Central. So there we are. All right. So that's good. We show up there. Now, let me go back out of Theology Central. Let's go with VBC. All right. If you type in VBC, you're going to find VBC and the VBC Bible Institute. So there we are. We're definitely on Spotfy. We can be found. You go under each one. There's the VBC Bible Institute. There we are. So we are on Spotfy. So go for VBC Bible Institute, and Theology Central. All right. Now, when you pull up VBC, there are two VBCs there because we used to be a VBC podcast on Anchor. Don't click on that one. Don't follow that one because that one's pretty much no longer existing. Go to the very first one, VBC. It'll say VBC Podcast Victory Baptist Church. That's the one you want to click on, and you will see my sermon from last night, Seeing as God Sees, a devotional study of Haggai chapter 2, verses 1 through 9. Listen, download, listen, share with people, and stream it like crazy, and then we will see what we can do and if we can get some theology on the religion and spirituality chart. All right, maybe it's a good idea. Maybe you think it's a bad idea, but I'm just when I look at the religion and spirituality chart on Spotfy, I'm like, man, if people in the world are looking for anything dealing with historical biblical Christianity, they're going to have a hard time finding it on podcast on Spotfy. And I know what you're going to say. Well, why are they looking on Spotfy? Well, where do you expect them to look? That's where you know how many millions upon millions of people use Spotfy around the clock? That's why they listen to podcasts. So why not look for your podcast on the app that you're already using for music? Right? I mean, they're going to look on Google Podcast. They're going to look on Apple Podcast. They're going to look on Spotfy Podcast. They're going to use the apps that they're using for other things or listening to other podcasts. Being on Sermon Audio, your audience is basically Christians. That's typically your audience, or quote unquote religious people. Getting your theological content out there for the world to find it, I think, is very important. We're supposed to go to the world, and one of the ways we can go to the world is doing something as simple as that. So download the Spotfy app, sign up. It's free. Once you sign up, follow us. The follow is very important. That follow is very important. I've tried to express how important the follow is even on Spreaker. The Spreaker app, that follow number is important, and we were never able to get that follow number up very big on Spreaker, which is kind of disappointing because a lot of people are just using other apps. They're not even using the Spreaker app. Remember, the Spreaker app is for you to listen to me live. That's the real beauty of the Spreaker app, is that's how you can listen to me live. But Spotify, and look, those numbers, those Spotify numbers, not only will they show up on Spotify, which will help us chart on Spotify, those numbers then obviously go back to the hosting site, which is Spreaker, so it increases our Spreaker numbers as well. So you'll be increasing our Spreaker numbers, you'll be increasing Spotify numbers, and hopefully then we'll get a little bit of attention, and we'll see what we can do with that. All right. So if you want to help out, please do so. If you don't want to help out, I'm sorry I wasted your time. If you're happy with the religious content on Spotify's chart, then okay. If you think, man, it would be good to get some Christian things on there, then find your Christian podcasters on Spotify and help get them charted. All right. You don't have to worry. Even if it's not me, let's get some biblical, historical Christianity on the Spotify chart instead of Joyce Meyer, Stephen Furtick, ghost stories, Harry Potter, and astrology. All right? Let's try to get biblical historical Christianity represented. I think that's a worthy goal. Even if it's not me, that's okay. Because this is about trying to get historical biblical Christianity on there. So 5 minutes in church history, that would be a good podcast to get trending on Spotify. In fact, let me see if it's on there. Give me 1 second. So go to search, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I'm not seeing it. 5 minutes. And 5 minutes in church history. It's on there. Okay. And I'm going to follow it. All right. So 5 minutes in church history is on Spotify. So if you have Spotify, subscribe to that. Let's help them out. I mean, they're part of Ligonier Ministries that really don't need our help. Put it this way. They do need our help on Spotify because they're not even on the chart. I mean, they've got Ligonier's name behind them and they're not even on the chart. Astrology, Joyce Meyer's on there 2 times. So, I'm just saying that sometimes as Christians, we can create these little Christian bubbles where we talk to Christians, we speak to Christians, and we talk about Christian things, and then the world never comes in contact with it. It's not like the world's always going to come looking for us. We got to put our content out there where the world can find it. I mean, right? I mean, go therefore into the world. We got to go therefore and get it out into the world. They're not going to necessarily come to your church. They're not going to come to your Christian website. So if we have the content, let's put it out there where the world can find it. And Spotify right now is really trying to make a move in the podcasting world. So let's get our foot in the door and be right there saying, hey, we're right here. You may not like us, but here's some theological content that you may want to consider because we're going to offer a perspective that's going to be different put it this way. There is nothing on the Spotfy Religion chart right now like the Theology Central podcast. There is absolutely nothing. I can say that dogmatically, all right? And if you've been listening to me for a long time, I think you can agree. And trust me, I don't get along with the Christian world. The Christian world's not going to promote me. The Christian world, they get angry with me. So I probably will do better with the world listening to me than I will with Christians listening to me, which is kind of weird, but that's the way it typically works. All right, so there you have it. Spotify challenge. Let's get theology on the Spotfy Religion and Spirituality chart. If you have any questions, if you need any help, email me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. And just in case if you're interested, currently on is my other podcast, which is a secular podcast talking about what's happening in the world of music, movies, television shows, you name it. And at times theology comes into play. Because last night I reviewed an album by the band Creeper from the United Kingdom, which starts their album out with a kind of a quote from Revelation 19, but they flip it around and really It's, I mean, they flip it around in kind of a messed up way, but it's really not, they're taking a passage from Revelation and they're simply using it symbolically to describe a relationship between a guy and a girl. So clearly not a Christian idea, but it's an interesting idea how they try to use religion to describe this relationship. And then I've been reviewing the television show on Netflix called Warrior Nun, which each episode borrows from the Bible, even though it's a secular show. So sometimes in the secular world, there's a lot of theological things going on. So when I review some of that, I think I can offer a unique review because I can speak about it from a theological perspective because, well, my degrees are in theology and religious education. So I can kind of speak there. So I can offer kind of a unique perspective. And that's been pretty well received. So if you're interested in that, that's currently on, which is available everywhere, but obviously it's available on Spotify. So I have it. Just wanted to throw that out there and we'll see what happens. I'm hoping I was afraid to record this because if it doesn't work, it'll be discouraging, but you know what? Discouragement is part of life. You try, we'll see what happens. All right. If you have any thoughts on getting theological, Bible-based content out there on the world, I mean, look, whether you like it or not, the world has changed dramatically. And podcasting is a major part of our culture now. People go and listen to podcasts to get information, to hear stories. That's where they're doing a lot of searching and finding things. Churches got to get a better job of getting our content represented on podcasting platforms. And Christians, if you want that, it's like Christians sometimes are really weird. They talk about the Great Commission and they talk about going to the world. And then when we have an opportunity to get our content out to the world, it's Christians won't do anything to help out and won't do anything to support and won't do anything to make that happen. You've got to go on those podcasting platforms, those podcasting apps, and you got to subscribe, follow, and listen and download the good theology stuff. And you got to share it like crazy because the more you do that, you got to like it, you got to follow it, you got to subscribe to it. That gets it recognized. And if you're worried that the world is spinning out of control and there's the Christian worldview is no longer being, represented in the world, well, what are you doing to get the Christian worldview into the world? Well, guess what? When people go look at a podcasting chart, can you imagine if there was a good theology podcast on the top charts? Forget the religion chart. It actually made it over to the top chart. And someone's looking at the top podcast and like, wait, that's a church. Wait, that's theology. Wait, that's church history. What is that doing on here? They could get curious and click on it and then get exposed to a Christian worldview. We've got to learn to compete in the free market of ideas. We got to go out there into the marketplace and say, here's our ideas. Please consider them, right? Or we can retreat and go hide on a Christian website where nobody's ever going to find us. I say we got to get it out there, and podcasting apps is the way to do so. If you look at where a lot of people listen to us, in fact, if I go over to Spreaker right now, I was going to wrap this up, but just trying to give you an idea. If I go to Spreaker right now, let me pull up our statistics. Go to the dashboard, statistics. All right. Go to last 7 days. I'm going to pull up sources. Okay. The last 7 days, here's where we've been listened to. We have been listened to on something called LAVF. LAVF. I'm not even familiar with LAVF. We have been listened to on Spotify. Now, our Spotify numbers have been increasing pretty dramatically. So that may be a good sign. Deezer is a music streaming service that offers high resolution, hi-fi streaming. It sounds really good. I'm a subscriber to Deezer. And Podcast Addict, Apple Podcast, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Overcast, TheologyCentral.net. That's good. That means people have been using our pod page. Stitcher, iTunes, Podbean, and Google Podcast. That's where people have been listening to us. I mean, listen to some of that. TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify. In fact, Spotify is actually number one right now. So we are starting to build that Spotify there. We're getting our name out there in the Spotify world. So, help us out. Let's really increase that. Let's push that way over the top and see if we can get it on the chart. But I just want you to see, please note all those places people are listening to us, not from Christian websites, not from Christian sources, where we are competing out there in the free market. Right there in the open public square where everyone else is screaming their voices and they've got their message. And I want them to speak their messages. I love freedom. That's one of the great things about America is having freedom. And guess what? We can use that freedom to get the Christian message out there on podcasting apps. And we're going to focus on Spotify and see what we can do. So be a part of it. Download the Spotify app and stream and download everything you can. VBC Bible Institute, Theology Central, and Theological Musings is on there as well. And remember, Theological Musings is the catch-all. Everything we post ends up under Theological Musings. So subscribe, download, share, and let's see what happens. If you have any questions or complaints, email me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. All right, everyone have a great day. Get out there and let's see what we can accomplish. God bless.